Hey, everybody knows the importance of follow up, right? But what many real estate agents don't realize is that follow up actually, can be quite easy to mess up if you are not careful. And there are six specific, reasons why many property agents don't do follow up. Hi, my name is Yasser Khan, and I'm the author of Property Agent Secrets book, which is the most powerful book in the entire real estate industry, guaranteed. You can get it at propertyagentsecrets.com for free. Just pay for shipping. So, I always keep telling my agents that follow up is everything. Yet, it frustrates me to see so much wastage happening in the real estate industry, and many agents don't do follow up. So I realized after taking a look, after looking at what's happening out there and the reasons that my agents gave me, there are actually six reasons why property agents don't do follow up. And the first reason has to do with they don't have a system. So if you don't have any system to get leads, to get inquiries, and to actually sort of automate some of the action that you need to take in order to reach out to them, some of the replies in the form of auto SMS or auto messages, then it's a wasted opportunity. And that's one of the biggest reasons why agents don't do follow-up, because they do not have a system. So a system is an all organized, orderly way of getting things done without putting in a lot of effort or time. It works automatically. So it pays to actually have a system in place to get the automation going, so that you can actually follow up with all those inquiries that you get without manually typing each answer to every single prospect that comes. So having a system rapidly improves your follow-up automatically. All right. So the only thing it takes is a bit of your time and a bit of your investment to determine what kind of follow-up you need in place. Now, the second reason, which is the second most common reason, or should I say excuse, many agents have for not doing follow-up, is because they have newer leads to follow up with. All right. So this sounds pretty harmless when you look at the fact, at the snowballing effect of, or the compound effect of leads. Let's say you have 5 leads a day coming in. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, how many leads do you have? 5 times 30 days. That's quite a significant number of leads, right? 150 leads, right? So let's say you only follow up with 1 lead a day. That's only 30 leads that you have follow up at the end of 1 month. And some of those 30 leads you may be able to close, some you may not be able to close. But because people, property agents especially, they're too busy chasing all these new leads that they forget about following up with the old one. And when you actually think about it, all those leads that you didn't follow up with are actually wasted dollars. Imagine flushing down $5, $10 notes down the toilet, and that is precisely what property agents are doing when they do not follow up with all the leads who are not new. Now, that's not a good excuse. You should do better than that. And the third reason is basically have to do with their self-esteem, precisely because many agents are afraid of rejection. They are afraid of the word no. They don't want the prospect to hang up on them. That's why they don't bother calling up, they don't bother following up. And that's a pretty lame ass dumb excuse. Alright? So grow up a spine. Alright? Be a grown up. And grown up take responsibility. Grown ups don't throw tantrums. Alright? So take charge of your life, take charge of your career. Go and muster up the courage to reach out to all those prospects who actually wanted to reach out to you first, but you haven't, for this kind of excuse that you are afraid, you're too afraid of rejection that you didn't bother following up with them. And that's the reason, why many agents don't do follow-up, right? So obviously the better way is to immunize yourself against rejection. You have to understand that rejection is part of life. It's part of it's part of business. Rejection comes with the territory of sales. You have to accept it. Alright? Because if you don't accept it, if you don't want to be rejected, if you want to stay popular all the time, then get out of real estate. Get out right now. There's no other way. You have to learn, you have to face rejection, because only from failure, only from tackling rejection head on do you grow. Alright? And if you look at all the successful agents out there, none of them had it easy. Nobody has it easy in life, seriously. Alright? And it's in general, you will face challenges. Everybody faces challenges, and you have to overcome the challenge of the fear of rejection by working on your habit, on working on yourself. You have to accept rejection. You have to be willing to face constructive criticism. When you do that, you will improve. All right, and that the first three. All right, now moving on to the fourth most common reason why property agents don't do follow-up, and that is because they think they have not earned the right to do follow-up. All right, and that's the seriously, right? Okay, that means they don't feel worthy. They don't feel that it's justified for them to call up to do follow-up with the person that left a message, wherever that happens. And that is a surefire way to fail quickly. Alright, it's not a matter of whether you have the right to reach out to them. You are, by right, it is your right to call them up, because you paid money. You paid advertising dollars for the right to follow up. How can you forget that? How can property agents forget that? Seriously, this is such a fundamental issue that I get stressed. I get fed up of hearing this excuse. Oh, I don't have the right to follow up. I haven't earned the right to follow up. This bullshit. Seriously. You pay for advertising, you get leads. You are actually paying for the right to call. It is your 100% right to follow up. Seriously, I don't know of any right greater than the right that you have earned by paying for leads, by paying Facebook, by paying Google, whatever it is, Property Guru. You have the right to follow up. You have the right to call them up. As long as somebody has indicated that they would like to be contacted, they have left their name, email address, phone number, then you have the right, you have earned the privilege to follow up with them. Alright? And the fifth reason is actually they do not want to appear desperate. They do not want to appear pushy, so they don't do follow up. Now that's the lamest reason. Seriously, it's not even a reason, it's a lame excuse. And my answer is still the same. Grow up a spine. Seriously, get a grip on yourself. You need to follow up because the person has already indicated that they would like to hear from you. Alright, there's nothing pushy about it. There's nothing desperate about it. If you follow a script, if you follow a methodical way, a systematic way of how and what words you say over the phone, then chances are very high you will not come across as pushy, or you will not come across as desperate. Seriously, ego is a very fragile thing. Forget about it, right? Forget about it. Leave your ego at home. When you step into the real world, think of being a warrior facing a war which is coming in front of you. You have to conquer your fear, and fear is the greatest enemy of progress. Alright? If if people feared everything, then nothing would get done in the world. We wouldn't have reached where we are in the 21st century if all the inventors, if all the people, all the innovators feared failure, or they didn't want to appear as desperate. So my friend, seriously, stop giving yourself this excuse that you will sound or you will appear desperate. In fact, the buyers or the investors or the sellers or the renters, they are the ones who are desperate. They have a need. You have a solution. How can that be desperation on your part? You are doing them a favor when you follow up with them. Seriously, you are doing them a favor. They are not doing a favor to you. You are providing your services to them. You are a service provider. You cannot be desperate. There's nothing desperate about it. Life is all about give and take. Seriously, ultimately, no one is self-sufficient. Everybody needs everybody else. Alright? So stop giving yourself this excuse that you want to appear. You will appear desperate when you do follow up. You won't. Alright? And the last reason is basically, which is personally one of the most frustrating for me, is because the property agent doesn't do the follow-up because he did not pay for the lead. Alright? So if property agents do not pay for lead and they don't bother following up, then let me tell you to your face, no matter how offensive this sounds to you, alright? Only assholes, seriously, only entitled lame assholes do that. If they haven't paid for leads, they don't want to do the follow-up, then that shows that they are entitled. Seriously, if you have these kind of team members, if you know these kind of property agents, then stay away from them. Entitlement is the curse of every salesman. You should never feel entitled. Seriously, alright? So this entitlement, this sense of entitlement is such a big weakness in our society. Everybody feels entitled to something. Come on, the world doesn't know you are living. Seriously, go and get there. Pick up the phone. Stop feeling entitled. Stop thinking in terms of benefit to you. All right? Stop being selfish. Hello. Go and serve more buyers. Go and serve the sellers. Serve before give before you take. All right? So that should be your watchword. Give before you take. Giving before receiving. Alright? So don't feel entitled. I know entitled. If the only cure, the only way to solve entitlement is if you have an entitled team member, get rid of them. Seriously. You can't afford to be around such pricks. Alright? And seriously, get rid of them. Get a better one. Get somebody who is hungry. Get someone who is opposite of entitled. Get somebody who is hungry. And this is the reason, this is the entire reason, alright, my friend, that why people from third world countries are dying to come to Singapore, because they are hungry for success, while Singaporeans in Singapore feel entitled. They feel, a sense of, being owed an apology, that everyone and everything owes them something. And that's why they feel entitled. And that's a bullshit mentality. Seriously, that's the enemy of progress. Entitlement is the enemy of progress. The day you stop feeling entitled and you start working hard, the day you stop taking things for granted and start appreciating hard work, is the real start of your success. Alright? So in this video, I took a no BS approach. I didn't care whose feelings I hurt, but I just want to have a no BS way. I just want to make the real estate industry great again. And one of the best ways that you can do a better job, you can become a better real estate agent, is to keep improving on your follow-up and stop making the same excuses that I just talked about in this video. Alright, so that's all for now. Now go sell some homes.